Welcome to coffee+Connect. Brandy's here with me. I don't know if you can see, we have some streamers and some palms. I don't know what these are. We got some little birthday beads. Because this is my birthday week. So I love celebration. I also love letting Brandy chew on things for your entertainment because I think it's very funny. Nope, not feeling it yet. Nope. All celebrated out. Okay, there we go. Ben was up here before playing with these. He was having a good time. Yay! I love birthdays. So, not just mine, like other people's. Yeah, so this week, Ben does too, apparently. We don't know when your birthday is, though, buddy. We don't. And that's okay. That's okay. This week, I wanted to offer you my normal semi-sleepy self because it's the weekend. And I lost my train of thought. Which means I need more coffee. I present to you the Ben. Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy. Here, let me help you. You get that guy. You get him. You get him. Oh. Oh. All right, well. Oh. Okay, sorry. What I have for you this week, excuse me. What I have for you this week is 3 card readings, very similar to last week. It's not a pick a card, but you're more than welcome to just watch one of the readings. It's kind of designed for you to watch all of them or the one that feels like the best fit for you. So as the connection junkie and loving connection, I'm going to be offering you a cat in the background who's going to be freaking out for a little while. But also, I'm going to be offering you 3 card readings on connection. So the first reading that I'll do for you is going to be on connecting to yourself. The second reading is going to be about connecting with the people that are in your life. This might apply to friendships, family, love relationships, even work relationships. I haven't looked at the cards for any of the readings, so don't know what's going to come up. So it'll be just as much of a surprise to you as it is to me. And then the third reading is about connecting, to me, I call it connecting to the collective, but it's also about expanding the connections that you have. It could be deepening connections that already exist in your life, making new connections. So like if you are looking for like-minded people, if you're looking for tribe, if you want to draw in more people that kind of resonate at your frequency, so to say, in a really woo-woo way, this is a really good reading for you to listen to. Also, if you're feeling really disconnected from what is going on societally, like with humanity right now, if like the chaos is just like a little bit too much for you, this connecting to the collective is going to have like a healing mantra card. So I feel like whenever we connect to new people, when we connect to the collective, when we open ourselves up to kind of connect with what other people are dealing with, when we open ourselves up to connect through kindness with someone that we don't know, there's a lot of healing that happens in that, both for ourselves and for other people. So those are the 3 readings. Apparently the cats don't want to party with me anymore. Not that we're gonna party, we're having a tarot party, I don't know. Yeah, so we will get into the readings. Like I said, if you feel like you would like to choose one, or you want to skip forward to one, I'll put the timestamps in the description below. Also, if you want to rewatch a reading, that'll make it easier. So, let's go after I drink some coffee. So the first reading that I have for you is Connecting to the Self. I pulled 3 cards from the Light Seers Tarot, and I have pulled 1 card from the Power of Love Oracle. The first card that we have is, Ace of Cups. So Ace of Cups is about new love coming in, a new way of loving. So to me, this is really, especially since Venus just went direct Thursday, a couple days ago, this card, to me, in income. You done? You okay? You can play with some streamers? Oh, it's a party. Oh, it's a party. You good, bro? All right. What was I saying? I feel like somebody is trying to, someone's trying to upstage me. And I don't really know how to compete with that. Because I'm not as cute as this kid. Look at him. Look at, let me get out of the way. Let me just. Oh, everybody's freaking out. Okay. Oh gosh, I don't know how to get out of the way for you guys. Oh no. Hey, watch the coffee. Maybe party streamers and palms weren't the best idea. Okay, focus. This Ace of Cups card to me feels like, for Connecting to the Self, that you're coming into a new way of self-love. She's got this cup that I'm assuming it's a woman, but this cup card, she's got this cup at her heart chakra, and it's just beaming this light, and it's kind of hard to see, but this little kind of universe galactic thingamajig is heart-shaped. There we go. I don't know if you can see that. So, like, it's almost like your heart is the key to the universe. Your heart is the key to, your heart's the gateway to entering into the universe that lives inside of you. Like, there's this whole world inside of you. And, when we don't love ourselves, and when we don't know how to love ourselves, let me say that, because I feel like when we say that, like, you just need to love yourself, it's kind of, it's super judgmental, because it implies that you don't love yourself. And that, I think, for me, especially in the past when I didn't love myself, it triggers a lot of shame. That, like, oh, that's what I'm supposed to do, and I just don't do it. What's wrong with me? And a lot of us have trauma and wounding and just because of the way that our society is structured, the school system, media, fashion magazines, like all these things, we are constantly bombarded with messages from the time that we just become aware of them. I would say maybe like 9, 10, 11, possibly younger for the kids now, because they're so much more aware than I think we were. We're bombarded with messages that you are not good enough. And so if you're constantly given the impression that you are not good enough, it's not safe for you. It's not safe for you to enter through this gateway to love yourself, because there's an issue of worthiness. Because we just came out of Venus retrograde, Venus just went direct on the 25th. During that time that Venus was retrograde, we were doing a lot of work on love, value, worth in our relationships. And one of the things we really kind of discount when we talk about relationships is the relationship to ourselves. And so, if you kind of struggled during Venus retrograde, if you had a lot of stuff come up where you had to stand up for yourself, if you had a relationship end, if you had relationship shift. A lot of the space that is made, I feel like it was for you to experience the opportunity to soften, to go through this gateway, you know, through your own heart, to begin the process of self-love. It's almost like, to use a really kind of crude analogy, if you've ever watched those like home renovation projects, those home renovation shows, and you know, they love the house that they live in, but there's improvements that need to be made. Right, Ben? Yeah, we like home renovation shows. Once the house is renovated and the family gets to see the new home, it's almost like once that door opens, they're just like, you know, it's just like magic. When we are able to love ourselves and enter into this heart gateway, into who we are, into seeing who we are, having that door into ourselves open, it's very much the same thing. That there's this like wonder and awe and like, what is all this stuff in here? Like, this is great. Like, why didn't I open this door before? You know, because once we are able to connect with ourselves and we're able to start connecting with ourselves from the perspective of loving ourselves, there's a lot of big shift that happens, and we're still in the eclipse portal until I want to say like the 5th. I think the 5th of July is when the next eclipse is, and this is a time for rapid change, you know. So if you had gone through a self-love journey, awakening, lesson last year, like myself, like I went through one in the fall, like there was a lot of work I had to do, like daily intentional compassion for myself, like literally looking in the mirror 3 times a day and telling myself that I loved myself. Not I love you self, but literally I love you, Kathy. You are worthy of love. And a lot of times I would just like cry because it was a lot. Excuse me. If you are going through this self-love journey now during the eclipse, it's going to happen so quickly, because when we are in an eclipse portal, this is a really magical time that the universe is kind of like, okay, this is the fast track. Like, because this lesson is so important, because you need to really get this, in order to go and be and do what you need to do on the other side of this eclipse. Like, we're just gonna, you know, I'm just gonna give you the cliff notes, I'm gonna quiz you a little bit, and you're just gonna get it. It's not like really it's not this granular lesson. It's not this like, okay, you really have to integrate this because of whatever reason. Like, because we're in an eclipse portal, it's gonna literally be like the door opens, you're like, oh, this is amazing. And that is so needed. Right now, I'm all over the place. I'm like on 18 different tangents, so I apologize, because it's Mercury retrograde, and it's a Mercury retrograde in Cancer, and my Mercury is in Cancer. So I'm using that as an excuse for why I'm rambling all over the place. No, I'm rambling because I'm really excited about talking about this, because I love connection, and I also love talking about self-love. So the reason that you're coming into this lesson during the eclipse is because, you know, you need to be able to open that door to walk into this experience of self-love, because there is massive healing that happens when we come into this space, this room of self-love. Because just like the people that go through like the home renovation shows, you know, they look around and like every room is amazing, but it's still their same home. So it's not like they're learning new things. It's just like, oh my gosh, this is so much better. And oh my gosh, I didn't look at it this way. And like, oh my gosh, it's amazing. And so what happens when we experience self-love that way is it helps us to deprogram and uncouple the shackles of the shit we've been dragging around. Because there is a weight limit for where you're going, and there's a lot of shit you can't take with you because you don't need it, and it's only held you back. So a perfect example is when we are rooted in self-love, self-compassion, self-kindness, and we are confronted by an experience with someone where maybe we have a conversation this week with someone that we work for, and we do not understand what's happening in the conversation, so we ask for clarification, and we get met with a statement that's very highly charged. A statement like, this isn't what you think. You know, and that kind of puts us on the defense. Like, what do you mean this isn't what I don't know what you think I think. What is going on? And continue to ask for clarification and continuing to explain, like, I don't understand what's going on. And being met with more frustration by that person, and the conversation ends in passive aggression. So obviously this is my situation. If I had not gone through this journey of like self-love, self-compassion, self-kindness last year, this conversation would have really, really bothered me, because the old me would have said, oh my gosh, what did I do wrong? I shouldn't ask so many questions. I shouldn't be so direct. That's not how people are supposed to be. That's not how I'm supposed to be. But instead, of course, my ego flared up and was like, you got a problem with me. You need to tell me. Which is fine. You know, we're human. We have egos. It's out of protection. But the thing that came up, because I'm rooted in myself and I know that there's nothing wrong with asking questions for clarification, it helped me to see, oh, that's your stuff. You're trying to project your stuff onto me, and you probably are not aware of it, but I don't have to absorb it as my own, because I've gone through this portal, this heart portal, and I know what my new house looks like, and I know that that doesn't belong here, and I know that that's not mine. And I hope that makes sense. Like, when we're able to walk into self-love and really recognize and appreciate who we are, accept who we are, and really appreciate who we are and become grounded in that, other people's shit doesn't bother us. Yeah. Okay, so that's just the first card. I can't promise this is going to be a short video, because I just love this stuff. Okay, the next card that's come up about connecting with ourselves is the Eight of Swords. And so we can see here that the primary image is this woman who's kind of bound up, and she's got all these crows around here. Swords cards are about the mind, thoughts, mindset, I would say worries. Like the mind cards are they're really about the way that we struggle with things mentally, you know, like making decisions, having a specific mindset. But the thing we also see here is that there's a woman sitting here. And so, you know, it's kind of hard to see in the card, but my intuition of this is that this is the reality of her, but in her mind, this is how she feels. Right? So she's really just kind of sitting here contemplating, maybe meditating, maybe thinking about some things, but this is what it feels like on the inside. And so when we are kind of mentally in conflict about things, we're being invited through the act of self-love, through the act of connecting with ourselves, to really ask these things that are coming up that feel like they are burdening, attacking, bothering me. Are those things legitimate concerns? Are those things legitimate fears? Like, is this someone else's potential judgment about us? Is this a social norm that we want to, that we feel like we are obligated to adhere to, that we don't even agree with? Are these things worst case situation that our brain goes to because it's always done that? Is this a cautionary message to protect us? So when we are connecting to ourselves and we're connecting to our inner self, there develops like an awareness of the external influence that can come into our lives. That, and like I said before, like deprogramming, uncoupling, you know, this woman is bound up, as we can see, but we can also see that each of these crows, which kind of represent the swords in this card, are the ones that are binding her up, but because she's blindfolded, she doesn't know. It's almost like the way that they train circus elephants, when they're babies, they will put a really heavy shackle around their leg. And so as babies, they'll fight and fight and fight to get free, but they can't. And so as they get older, they lose that fight. And the shackles that they put on the elephants as they're bigger and bigger, they're able to break them, but because their mind believes that they're trapped, they don't try. Which is like such a fucking heartbreaking story. And I'm so sorry to like just, if you're an animal person, like, yeah, I'm so sorry. But it was the perfect analogy that, you know, that there are times that we can't see that the ties that bind us are so much weaker than we are. You know, so this card is in conjunction with entering this gateway of, you know, entry into the experience of self-love, the journey of self-love, the things that are trying to keep you from loving yourself. Allow yourself to take off that blindfold and really take stock of, does it matter what people think about who I'm dating? Does it matter what people think about what I post on social media? Does it matter what people think about my choice to change careers? You know, and excuse me, and deciding if you want to allow these really tiny strings to keep a hold of you, because they've held you for so long, because that is how we are conditioned. We are conditioned to be obligatory sheeple. You know, that's how we are conditioned, to follow the rules, to obey the giant, just to do what we're told and not to contest things. And we're taught that we have to do that because we can't cause chaos. We can't cause, you know, if there's no order, then the whole world is crazy. But that's not true, you know, because the chains that, or the ties that we want to break away from are to get to our own place of freedom. You know, like, I would venture to say that most people don't have, you know, one of these ties that's like, I can't wait to break free so I can cause total anarchy. That's not, I think that's not the reality that most of us live. I think for many of us, it's like, I can't wait to break free of this fear of my parents judging me if I quit my job and travel the world for a year, because I saved money to do that. Or I can't wait to break free of the body image shit that the world puts on me, so that I can just eat pizza and drink beer and not feel like a slob of a woman or man or whatever. So this card is really just encouraging us to take stock of what we allow to hold us down, and to know that we are so much stronger than these strings and these ties, and that at any time we can break free of that old programming. And we're really being encouraged to do it right now during the eclipse, because it's so much easier. You know, maybe pre-eclipse, these could have been like really heavy metal chains, and things have evolved and changed, and now these are strings that are held by birds, and you're so much stronger than strings held by birds. So that was the second card. The third card is King of Cups. And so I just love this for, I mean, so cups are love. I don't know if I said that or if you've watched my videos before, but cups signify love. So we had the Ace of Cups, which is us entering into this new realm, this new universe of self-love inside of ourselves. And King of Cups is, he's got this little water crown. Water signifies emotions, love, and he's very grounded. And so that's where you're going. If you are, you know, if you're listening to this reading, you're entering into this self-love experience. And because it's during the eclipse, it's going to happen so quickly that you're going to go from entering the house to becoming the master, the king of the home very quickly. You know, there's not going to be issues of like, do I deserve this new house? Do I deserve this self-love? Is this okay? Is it okay that I tell people that their judgments don't matter to me anymore? Is it okay that I just get my nose pierced even though my mom thinks it's gross and I'm almost 40? Like, there's not going to be any more of that asking for permission about yourself, because you know, Kings are grounded in who they are. They've got experience, they've got knowledge, they have this presence about them that is calm and knowing and centered in who they are. And that's what you're going through. You know, so like I said with the eclipses, there's like this fast track. So like you're coming into this lesson of self-love. You're identifying the things that have held you back that are not really worth retaining the energy instead of breaking the chains. And you're going to really become rooted in your own self-love and come to this place of like calm, secure knowing of self, because that's what you need to do, because there's some things coming that you have to be rooted in who you are and knowing who you are and standing for yourself and just deeply loving yourself. Because unfortunately, I'm right there with you. We are coming into some shit where we're going to have to stand up for ourselves. And if we don't know who we are and we are not able to take a stand for ourselves because we are confident enough to do so, that's what the world needs us to do right now. That's what the universe needs us to do. So that was the connecting with self reading. Oh no, that wasn't it. I'm not done. I have another card. Sorry. Okay, so the Power of Love Oracle card that I pulled for you, excuse me, is expression. You are ready to manifest your thoughts and transform them into acts of love. Oh gosh, sorry. This glare is super gnarly. So you have to master self-love because like you're going to express that love for yourself through action to the world. So no big deal. Just, you know, welcome to your part of healing the collective consciousness. And you're gonna do great. You're gonna be fine. And this self-love, this is super, super, super overdue. It's very long overdue. Not to say that you should have done it earlier. You shouldn't have. But I think to you, it's going to feel very long overdue. Like, how much did I really have to go through all this shit to figure out that I'm amazing? Sometimes we do, you know, and sometimes we get to do it during an eclipse portal. And sometimes, you know, we got to do it the long way. It is what it is. But that was your reading for connecting to self. The next reading is connecting to others. So this is, and connecting to others, like connecting to the people in your life, really. So I pulled cards from the Psychic Tarot and from the Keepers of the Light Oracle, which is one of my favorites. So the first card that I have for you is Third Eye Chakra. So this card is for the chakra that's pretty much, you know, right here. The third eye chakra is about wisdom. So like you're coming into a time where you're learning a new way of interacting with other people. Like you're developing a wisdom for how to interact with the people around you. And I think that this probably resonates for a lot of people because a lot of the COVID-19, a lot of the systemic racism stuff that has come up in our society has really caused this big divide between people, because we've got people that are very fearful of COVID-19, and then we've got people that are like, there's not enough information, like what do we really need to be doing, to like all the way to the range of like, I just want to go out and hang out at the bar with my friends and like young people don't get sick. You know, and then with like the systemic racism, excuse me, we've got people that are stuck on skin color, that this is just about, you know, one skin color is better than the other, that don't really understand systemic racism, all the way to people that are like, they're really unsure and they don't know the right thing to say, and they don't know what happens if they say the wrong thing, and they don't know how to contribute, support, speak up, to people that have a very deep understanding of systemic racism and how huge and how expansive and how long running it has been in the system. And I think are really just trying to educate people that can't see it yet. You know, because not everybody's got a big picture perspective. Like, not everybody is kind of able to view things, you know, in this really like 5,000 foot view, you know, and it's not to say that all people need to be that way. We need people at all levels. Like, we need the people that can look through their microscope and see like super, super granular things. Just like we need people that can, you know, be up in an airplane and look down and see like, oh, okay, like this is the kind of big picture of what's going on. And by, you know, bringing those people together, we can really understand at different levels what's happening. And so this third eye chakra is about wisdom, about growing our understanding. You know, wisdom, I think, is very much about connection, compassion, realizing that we have a bias of otherness against some group, and not judging, punishing ourselves about it, but being aware that, okay, I see this group as other, and this contributes to a problem. Or it's really, I feel like wisdom comes from this really objective perspective of things instead of a subjective one. You know, a subjective perspective might be that, to go back to COVID-19, a subjective perspective might be that like, well, I've been flying for 3 months because of my job and I haven't gotten sick. And an objective perspective would be able to see like, okay, what is the risk in flying? What is the risk for flying to this place or that place? Or like, how do I mitigate the risk? Maybe I wear a mask. Maybe I bring 4 pairs of gloves, you know, and that like when I use the bathroom on the plane, I change out my gloves, you know, or when I get a drink from the stewardess, I change out my gloves. And I hope that makes sense, you know, that wisdom comes from a place of being able to see things from an emotionally detached perspective. Subjectiveness is very emotionally charged. Subjectivity is like my opinion, how I feel about this. Objectivity is, you know, the ability to kind of look at things and see what are the facts about this versus how do I feel about this. And really, objectivity allows us or encourages us to remove those feelings about what we see. So there's some wisdom and lessons coming in regards to connecting with the people that are currently in your life that you know. The next card is the wisdom card. So, I can't make this up. I cannot make this stuff up. Like I said, I didn't look at the cards before the reading, so LOL. But so this, in the traditional tarot, this number 5 card, this wisdom card, is the Hierophant. And so the Hierophant is, he's the teacher, but he can also be the student, you know. So there's a humility in knowing that although we are a teacher, there's still more for us to learn. And so this is very, in my opinion, this is very North Node in Gemini. I want to say in early June, I can't remember, there's been so much astrology happening. The nodes change, the moon's nodes change. So we went from North Node in Cancer to North Node in Gemini, and South Node in Capricorn to South Node in Sagittarius. So the South Node in Sagittarius is the old way, and the old way is that I know everything because I've learned everything, I'm experienced, I'm wise. And North Node in Gemini is where we're going, and it says, you know what, maybe I don't know everything that I think I know, because subjectively I hold the belief that I'm the master and I don't have to learn anything else. But this third eye and this wisdom card is suggesting that, you know, more of a North Node in Gemini, which is the eternal student, the curiosity. You know, it's not, it doesn't discount the knowledge that we already have. It just kind of says, is that still true? Or like, should I maybe like look into that again? And I think the example that I used when I did the North and South Node video was kind of about the economy. That you know, like if you're an economist, like probably over the last like 5 or 6 years, you've really kind of mastered all the knowledge about the economy post 2008 housing crisis. Well, now is the time to be really curious as an economist because everything is different. This financial crisis, I don't even know if they're calling it that. I don't know what it's called, a recession. I don't know if they've even labeled it. But this financial situation that we're in right now is not the same as what happened in 2008. This wasn't from any predictable financial triggers, circumstances. You know, this was a virus that nobody saw coming. So, you know, this wisdom card is encouraging us to be curious about what we thought we knew, especially about people. So a lot of us are changing, shifting, growing, expanding. So if you have that family member that you just haven't gotten along with, if you have that conversation that you and your spouse don't really talk about because you disagree, if you have that person in your life, maybe a excuse me, maybe a friend or a coworker that you feel drawn to talk to, but like the connection's weird, this card is calling you to kind of revisit that from the perspective of curiosity, you know, to ask, you know, do you want to have that conversation again? Or like, hey, like I know like we've never really like our connection's always been kind of shaky. Like we try to connect and it's always really awkward and clunky and it doesn't end so well. Do you want to talk about that, or is it just me? You know, and they might be like, it's just you. It's not I don't feel that. I think you're great. And you know, that kind of allows us, or it invites us to kind of explore in ourselves, like, okay, why do I think that? What's coming up for me? So, you know, this is about going from teacher to and returning back to like that curious student in order to connect to others. And the next card that I pulled is the 9 card of solitude. And so this seems kind of counterintuitive when trying to connect with others, but this card it's in the traditional tarot, it's the Hermit. And so this isn't calling us to get alone and like to self-isolate, but really to kind of take a step back and review what it is that we think we know about relationship with others, what we believe, maybe our conditioning, maybe our intentions, maybe our belief systems, you know, because I think a lot of times when we have conflict with someone else, it can come from like a deeply rooted belief, you know, that maybe like they are wrong because they did this, or that I can never be friends with someone that voted for Trump, or I like someone that agrees with this, like their opinions don't matter, or and those things don't sound like beliefs, they sound like just statements. But a lot of the things that are conditions that we put in place for connection are beliefs. And so this solitude card is just really kind of inviting us to look at like, what are those conditions that I put on relationships with other people that I know that really need to be kind of evaluated, reevaluated, and looked at, you know? And these things there's no have to. You're being invited to do this kind of quiet contemplation by yourself. Instead of, you know, asking other people like, hey, do you think it's okay if I change my mind about this? Because other people's opinions, other people's conditions should not dictate our beliefs and our intentions, conditions in our own relationships. And so if you have often gone outside for advice on how to deal with relationships, this card's really calling you to get quiet and get alone with yourself, and just to internally determine what matters to you versus what other people have told you should matter. I hope that makes sense. So the final card in the connecting with others reading is the Holy Amethyst, and it's Divine Alchemy. And it's the message is move beyond current challenges, focus on what you desire. So this is just really a beautiful card. Amethyst is a crystal of healing. It is associated with the crown chakra. You know, the first card we got is the third eye chakra. The next chakra, elevating up, ascending up, expanding up, is the crown chakra. So to me, this feels like, you know, you're being called to really tap into your third eye, tap into what your inner wisdom is, because there's some things you need to relearn, and you really have to get alone with yourself to determine what is important to you and what is not. And that is how healing happens, you know, and this work is the divine alchemy that is going to change and shift those relationships that already exist in your life. Right now, it might be a challenge, you know, and you're being encouraged to move beyond current challenges and focus on what you desire. So in that time that you're alone, you get to decide how you want those relationships to be. And I feel like that statement probably brings up a lot of but. And that's okay. Like, you can butt it to death, but, you know, you have the power to call in what you desire. And if you desire to have more harmonious connections with the people in your lives, if you desire to end connections with people in your lives, in your life, maybe you have more than one life, I don't know. You have the power and the authority to do that, and all you have to do is focus on those desires, and they will come to you because you are a powerful being. And now is the time to do that. This divine alchemy, it has to do with divine timing as well. So that was your connection to others reading. The third reading that I have for you is connecting to the collective. And I've pulled cards from the Osho Zen Tarot deck, and I pulled an oracle card from the Healing Mantra deck by Matt Kahn. The first card that I have for you is the Innocence card. And so this is a major arcana card. So this is like a big life lesson that you are coming into, a big understanding you're coming into. This card makes me think of the memes that you see with kids in regards to like lack of awareness around race. You know, a lot of times the photos are like a little black boy and a little white boy, or a little, you know, white girl and a little black boy. There's one that I really like that stands out in my mind, and it's a little black girl, and she's in her I think it's called a hijab. I hope I'm not using the wrong word, but she's in her little head covering, you know, and there's a little white girl sitting next to her, and they have their arms like kind of around each other, and it's so cute, because kids are just like the cutest. Like, they don't care. They're just like, you're my friend, I like you. Like they don't care what your parents do. They don't care where you live. They don't care if you have siblings. They don't even care if you like the same things they like. Kids just decide that they do or don't like you. And so that comes from this element of innocence, you know? So in order to connect with the collective, you're being asked to re-look at things, you know? And so like with this card, you know, he's got this bug on his finger, and I apologize that like the lighting's not so good. He's got this bug on his finger, and he is just over the moon. Like, he's just fascinated. Like, look at this thing. And it's almost like, although he's very old and 99% sure this is not the first bug he's ever seen, he's able to view it through brand new eyes. And that is what innocence is. Innocence is the ability to look at things from a brand new viewpoint. So being able to look at people from a brand new viewpoint. And the viewpoint that I would like to invite you to look at things, especially with like the protesting, the rioting, the upset about wearing or not wearing masks, the insecurity about, do we go out, do we stay in, what's okay, is to look at everyone else as scared, confused children. Because in all honesty, I think we are aware as adults that it feels like everything's on fire. And we understand that people are fearful, panicking, upset, angry. But I think the thing we are not aware of, and the thing we're being invited to look at through new eyes, is that when people are met with extreme circumstances, when people are met with extreme uncertainty, it takes us back to a place where we first experienced uncertainty and fear. And for the large majority of us, that is childhood. And so if you can find it in your heart to compassionately look at people from a new perspective in these times of chaos as the child version of the person that you see protesting. And I know that sounds totally like bananas and crazy, but if you think about a time that something happened and you really freaked out, you wanted comfort in the same way that you did as a child, you know, or even to use the example of George Floyd, like when he was being killed, he cried out for his mother. He's a grown man, but because of the trauma, the pain, the fear, the uncertainty that was coming up for him, it took him back to a place where the only secure comfort, the only rescuing that came for him was his mom. And so when we are able to look at others through a new perspective, through, you know, different eyes, through seeing something for the first time and seeing all this chaos, seeing all this fear as a wounded child expression, it allows us to be so much more compassionate with people. And it also allows us to be compassionate with ourselves, because that fearful part of us is that inner child that's freaking out because he or she does not understand who's going to make everything okay, who doesn't trust the authority to do what they're supposed to keep us safe. And so in connecting with the collective, just understanding that like a lot of people have big inner child stuff that is coming up that they don't know how to deal with, and they don't have a safe place to go, and they don't have a safe person to come in and take care of them. Because what we know in this system of government that we have is that things are shifting and changing and falling apart because a new way has to be built. But right now we don't see the new way, and it's just uncertainty on top of uncertainty on top of uncertainty. So if we can be compassionate and look at people through the lens of, you know, of innocence, of kind of new eyes, new perspective, that will help us to connect with and heal the collective within ourselves, and, you know, create healing for all. So that was the first card. The next card that I have is the playfulness card. And so in connecting with the collective, it's really, really important in these difficult times to maintain a sense of playfulness, whether that is maintaining a good sense of humor, whether that's watching, you know, something on TV that makes you laugh. If you need a suggestion, Amazon Prime Most Extreme Challenge, it makes me laugh so hard. There's one episode that when I think about it a lot, it makes me like, I will laugh till I cry. I made my boyfriend rewatch it with me the other day, and it's so good. Most extreme challenge, Amazon Prime. Playfulness is so important because it's the easiest way. Laughter is the easiest way for us to tap into joy, and shit is so heavy right now. It's so heavy, so heavy. And we need this playfulness. We need this joy. We need, yeah, we need this. The third card that I pulled for you is the flowering card. And so this card is about expansion, blooming, with this gorgeous full moon back here. She's on a lotus. If you've watched my other videos, I've talked about lotuses a lot. They grow out of the mud and they're in a pod. And when they get to the surface of the water and they bloom, they're usually like white, light pink. But that pod helps them get up through the muck and the mud so that they can bloom and they're untainted, they're pure. And so, you know, this flowering is really this journey of what we're all going through and trying to connect with the collective, connect with people we don't know, connect with circumstances that are new to us that we don't understand, and understanding that it's a difficult journey, you know, coming up through like the dirt and the conflict and the mud and the misunderstandings and the chaos and the depravity, the lack of humanity, to get to this place of openness and expansion and blooming and connection and appreciation and beauty. You know, we see there's like a lot of green in this card. Like she's got these bracelets on there, all the colors of the chakra. I mean, all the chakra colors are very apparent here, but just this really bright light, this openness that she has, like, it's safe to connect to other people. It feels scary, but connecting with others, whether that's, you know, energetic through our heart center, like sending compassion to people that we don't know, because let's be honest, like we can't, not that we can't, it's very, very difficult as human beings to just have deep conversation with strangers. As human beings, it's difficult to have deep conversation with people that we know. You know, that requires intimacy and vulnerability, and you can't just create that with a stranger, because that's a boundary violation, and it's kind of weird. But what we can do is we can make a conscious decision that when we see someone that we want to connect to in a higher way, that we can energetically send them love. We can send them positivity. We can wish them good things, you know, without having this conversation of saying like, hey, I know you're a stranger and I'm just trying to connect with more people because I believe in unity and I just want to wish you good vibes and love. You know, like that's, I mean, maybe you can do that. Maybe you're like a big weirdo like me and you can do that. But I mean, most people are not comfortable, and some people can't receive that from a stranger. I don't know if I could receive that from a stranger, but just understanding that we can send love to whoever we choose to send love to, and it's not something that, you know, we have to get confirmation in response of. You know, we don't have to like make sure that they know that they have to receive our love, that we can, through prayer, through meditation, through intention, through just smiling at someone you don't know in the grocery store, that we can send them positivity and love, and that vibrationally, energetically, we can connect and create more unity that way. So the final card that I have for you is the healing mantra card, and it's discovering happiness. And the mantra is, I allow myself to be content exactly as I am. So if you were trying to connect with the collective and it feels like it's a challenge or it's scary or it's hard, you can be content with the fact that you're just trying, that trying is good enough, that having the intention that you want to connect with others that you don't know for the purpose of healing is good enough. That's a beautiful thing in itself. So this was a really, really long reading. I hope you enjoyed it. I was not planning for it to be this long, but obviously I had some things to say. Yeah. So I hope that one of these connection readings really resonates for you. If nothing else, I really, really hope the Connecting to Self reading resonates for you, because it all starts with us. That once we are able to harness compassion for ourselves, once we're able to harness kindness for ourselves, once we are able to really love ourselves, it makes it so much easier to love others, to be compassionate to others, to be kind to others. And it also serves as a really, in my opinion, healthy protective mechanism, because it allows us to see the reality of who we are in response to other people's projections of who we should be. Because that's this thing about humanity, you know. But yeah, I hope you guys have a great weekend. I will come on next week and do another eclipse reading for you for my birthday. My birthday is not on the eclipse though. Whew, thank goodness. That'd be a lot. So I hope you guys have a great day. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Hope you guys have a great week. I hope that you enjoyed this connection reading. And thank you so much for watching if you made it this far, because this is so long. And yeah, I will see you guys later. Bye.